Hello, students, and welcome back to Mr. Armstrong Teaches. Today's topic is commonly confused words. This will be a bit of an intersection with our contractions section, lesson, unit, whatever. The words in question are here. It's or its. Your or your. There, or there. So confusing. English! One thing I think can help to understand these a little bit better is to put them in a nice little chart. Let's take a look at that chart now. As you can see, the chart has three different columns: contractions, possessive pronouns, and there's an adverb at the end. The first column is contractions, and you'll notice that all of those words have apostrophes, as all contractions do. If it has an apostrophe, it is a contraction, and that means we could substitute the original two words that went into that contraction, and the sentence should still make sense. The second category, possessive pronouns. These are pronouns that take the place of nouns, but they also show possession, something that belongs to something else. And finally, we have that third version of there, as if two weren't enough, and that last one is just an adverb that tells us where. You should definitely write these down. Make this chart for yourself. Pause if you need to. It's worth it. As I said a moment ago, the ones that have apostrophes are always contractions. And so you can always substitute the original two words as a test. It's with an apostrophe will always mean it is. Your with an apostrophe will always be you are. And there with an apostrophe will always be they are. Here's the first example of what I mean. It's with that apostrophe S always means the same thing as it is. And so it's raining means the same thing as it is raining. But if we had the word it's without an apostrophe, as in a dog wags its tail, it does not mean the same thing as a dog wags its tail. That doesn't make any sense at all. The same is true for your with an apostrophe. Y-O-U apostrophe R-E always means the same thing as you are. And so you're awesome is the same as you are awesome. And you are awesome. However, Y-O-U-R, your hamster runs, does not mean the same thing as you are hamster runs. That second your is a possessive pronoun. And of course, this last example works the exact same way. There, T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E, always means the same thing as they are. They're free is the same thing as they are free. But if we were to say their car broke, they are car broke, does not mean the same thing. Once again, it makes no sense at all. The contractions can always be substituted with the original two words that made the contraction, and the sentence should still make the exact same amount of sense. Now, the words from that second column that I hope you wrote down are possessive pronouns. Notice there is no more apostrophes. These are pronouns that take the place of nouns but always show possession of some noun or nouns. Some examples. If we were to say its claws, there's no apostrophe. Its claws means claws that belong to it. Or your jacket. This is a jacket that belongs to you. And finally, their books. Books that belong to them. All of these are possessive pronouns. They show possession of some noun or nouns. One of these is a little more confusing than the others, I think, and something that I still see even well-educated grown-ups getting wrong sometimes. And it's the word its. I think its is the one that's most confusing because, as you may have learned before, a possessive noun gets an apostrophe S to show possession. And so a lot of people think that since the word it is a word, if we want to show that it possesses something, we should add an apostrophe S. But of course, we don't need to because we already have a word in English, its, I-T-S, without an apostrophe, that fulfills the exact same function. It shows possession, but it's its own word. It doesn't need an apostrophe S, it's just I-T-S. Go ahead and write these things down too. Maybe it'll help you remember. And the last column featured just one adverb, there. T-H-E-R-E. It is an adverb that answers the question of where, or in this dictionary definition that you see up here, in, at, or to that place or position, which really is just where that thing is. Where is it? There! This word almost always functions as an adverb, telling where the verb takes place, where something is. And it's kind of the one that you use if it doesn't really do what those other things do. It's not a contraction that means the same thing as they are, and it never shows possession of something. So it's kind of like the other one. But technically, it's an adverb that answers the question of where. Take a look at these 3 examples. We went there after school. It's not specific, but it tells us where. It is an adverb modifying where we went. Sometimes the word there might start a sentence, which makes it a little more confusing, right? If in the second example, I were to say, there are 3 books for you. It doesn't seem as much like a location when we say it that way. But as you can see, I reversed this sentence, or inverted it, for the third example, and it's a little clearer to see how it still does answer the question, where. 3 books for you are there. In that inversion, it still definitely answers the question of where those books are. But another good rule of thumb is if it's not a contraction and it's not showing possession of anything, then it's the other one, T-H-E-R-E. And that's it. That concludes this lesson of commonly confused words. These are words I often see getting mixed up in your writing, or in the writing of my students, in the writing of some well-educated, well-meaning adults as well. But with a little practice, they will become as second nature as anything you have learned well. You just need to practice. If you need to, watch the video over again and get some of those notes down. Otherwise, I will teach you again very soon. Have a great day. Peace be with you.